Hey, good morning everyone and welcome back. Just want to quickly cover some of the important news this morning. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. So one news is that Goldman Sachs is introducing their own cryptocurrency. So this is the cryptocurrencies coming from Goldman Sachs. First of all, this is really a significant move. One of the popular bank in America, one of the major, like you have JP Morgan, you have Bank of America, you have Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. These are the banks really stands in the top 4 and top 5, and they issuing a cryptocurrency is already a huge adoption when you talk about the adoption of cryptocurrency and where we are heading, right? And this really goes to show that cryptocurrencies are the future. So the Goldman Sachs is introducing a cryptocurrencies. There is a full detail on this news which is being covered by
reimagining what
Bloomberg
finance can be if there is such a thing as an internet for finance. And in the same way that we're all connected to one another directly over the internet of content, what does it mean for capital formation?
So you have Sean Neville. He is a co-founder of Circle app, which is backed by Goldman Sachs, by the way, which has recently bought Poloniex. Now I have a sad news for Poloniex also, which I want to share with you. But before that, so the Goldman Sachs is going to be a US pegged cryptocurrencies and a price dollar stable currency, which such as a token. I mean, they were talking about this last week, but there was no, there's not a fixed, there was no, I would say there was no definite plan as such. But right now, I think they have already announced it globally. So this is going to be an ERC20 token. They are in collaboration, doing this in collaboration with Bitmain, which is one of the biggest mining firm, equipment provider and mining firm across the globe for Bitcoin. And so as you can see how the institutional investors, institutional companies are now tying up with the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies company. Good news for Bitmain as well. So USDC is going to be a ERC20 tokens, minted, issued and redeemed based on the network rules defined by center. Now, one of the issue that we had with the Tether USDT, I'm sure you would know about the USDT, which is always a $1. The price never fluctuates because that's the objective of the USDT Tether is. The problem with the Tether was that it was backed by some weird company which there was no background. Like there was always a talk that the USDT Tether there is a link between Bitfinex and USDT, but there were so many audits done and none of the audits were really clear as to what exactly is happening. But one thing is for sure that the Goldman Sachs, when you're talking about the Goldman Sachs USDT Tether, you're talking about seriously something back, because Goldman Sachs is a bank. It's regulated by authorities, so there is no way they would I think I'll be okay. I'll be very comfortable trading it with the Goldman Sachs backed USD, because compared to the USDT Tether, in that sense, not really trusting the dollar. Of course, the dollar is something which cannot be trusted, but I think this is a good move. Now the problem here is this, that the Poloniex, I was trying to log into this Poloniex account, which is being acquired by the Circle app, right? So Circle app and Poloniex. The problem, if you have a Poloniex account, I will urge you to go ahead and log into your Poloniex account, and if you're letting you withdraw your funds, because all of a sudden they have come up with this rules wherein you have to complete certain verifications. You have to give your name, address, city and things like that before you can actually remove your funds. As you can see, the withdrawal limit is set to 0. And so this is what happens when the companies are bought by the traditional companies and the banks. They have their own set of rules and regulations. So now, with Poloniex, anyone could create the account on Poloniex, earlier, but now that's not possible. And also, not only that, the people who have funds on there, they cannot withdraw the funds because they all of a sudden they have come up with these things. This is really sad. I mean, there might be some people who will have the identification, but there might be some people who might not have. So the fund is stuck now. So this is something that Poloniex should have updated on their Twitter handle earlier, or should have announced this on the news that this is what we're going to be doing. So now the only way to remove your funds is by providing your details. So which is, I don't know if many people are going to be liking it. The next news I want to cover is a London-based company successfully trademarks the name Bitcoin. Now, this is very absurd and very annoying. So, one of the companies actually trademarked the Bitcoin. I mean, how can you even trademark Bitcoin? Bitcoin and is a public property. It is, you know. And then what happened is that one of the company who actually manufactures T-shirts and everything else, they were issued a notice that, listen, you cannot use this Bitcoin trademark, because Bitcoin logo, because this has been trademarked, and this was quite absurd, you know. So I mean, imagine a company randomly coming up and saying that now you cannot use Bitcoin. Well, that's quite frustrating. And so what has happened now is that the Bitcoin Foundation team, you know, if you are aware of the bitcoinfoundation.org, if you check this. So Bitcoin Foundation believes that the term Bitcoin alone should not be the intellectual property of any individual or entity. And they are just like, you know, dollar is not a trademark, and euro is not a trademark, yen is not a trademark. And so Bitcoin should not be a trademark for a company, and it should be allowed for the public use. So now Bitcoin Foundation is, I think, is going to be fighting against it, or maybe are going to talk about it. But this is very absurd that the Bitcoin is going to be is bought over by as a trademark by a silly company. I mean, the company is not going to do a good business, at least from the Bitcoin community, because they're going to hate the company like anything. So that's not a good move, I think, to do something like that. 6 Japanese public companies announced plans to launch cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, as you know, these are public companies. So what are the public companies we are talking about? We are talking about the SBI Group, Line Corp, Yahoo Japan. So this is what happens when you regulate cryptocurrencies in any countries. All the big companies will start getting into it. So there are 6 Japanese public companies which had nothing to do with the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, has now decided to launch something or the other, maybe cryptocurrency exchange or something. So as you can see, companies, the cryptocurrencies are going mainstream like anything, right? Last one is BitGrail. So there was some hack with the BitGrail account. So definitely, guys, one thing, as I always say, that do not keep your funds in a centralized exchange. Especially do not keep something which is like for example, Poloniex. I mean, the people who have got fund in the Poloniex, now all of a sudden they have to verify, and they really have to be dependent on their verification, and that is across the globe. I thought that would be only for US, but that's all for India as well. Now the BitGrail was an exchange which was recently hacked, about worth $170 million. Now they have been asked to shut down, not really shut down, but the activities have been halted, right? So BitGrail exchange ordered down indefinitely as Italian courts uphold halt. BitGrail is an Italian cryptocurrency exchange. They operate out of Italia, and they have been asked to shut down their operation. So another sad news for a centralized cryptocurrency exchange. One thing is for sure, do not trust the centralized cryptocurrency exchange. Come on, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are all about you being the owners. Always try to keep them in a wallet, probably a hardware wallet. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Hit that like and subscribe if you're new, and take care.